All right, boys. It is Sunday, November 23rd, coming up right before Thanksgiving. We got the fantasy forecast. I'll tell you, this season, it's been rough, but living by the beach is pretty nice. So, part of me wants to just talk about injuries and the lack of resiliency on my team, but I'm also tempted to just avoid talking about my team whatsoever. So I'm just going to get into the week. First off, we got Pate, Sacco favorite. I think that's an appropriate name. When I look at your squad, I see Emeka Igbegbo. And I also see that somehow there's a team that might be worse than mine. You've had a great run as commissioner. I respect the George Washington-esque move to step down. And, I imagine that how bad your team is this year probably is part of the reason. This week you're playing Cam. Your life is fantasy football, Cam. I love the enthusiasm. But, fuck, dude. I've gone for like a waiver wire move, and every single time I see it, Cam's already taken him. So that is what it is. It's fantasy football, and, I just do wild shit on Friday nights, and Cam's in there playing zone and securing an elite fantasy team like he has. So we got 98 to 130. That's my projection for this week. Next, we got Pat and Reed, and I actually really like this matchup. Pat, you've got Josh Allen, Bijan, Bowers. That's a squad. That's a good little three-piece right there. Travion seems like he's on the come up. I don't know how he's going to continue progressing as a player. On the right team, maybe a potential league winner, but only time will tell. You've got some depth there. I like the Cardinals play last week with Michael Wilson. Holy shit, who saw that coming? And the only question I have there is, outside of Bijan and Josh Allen, is there the pure star power to take it all the way? This week, I'm not seeing the 150 point week coming from you. I've got you down for 110. And then we've got Reed, Mahomes, the GOAT. 2.0. Brady, still the best of all time, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest of Mahomes' career goes. He had a crazy start to the season. For the rest of the year, is, Rashee Rice coming in? Is he going to take away from some of those rushing yards that Patricio is getting? I don't know. I just see the Chiefs winning it all again, somehow. And also, they might not even make the playoffs. So, my projection on that is like my projection on fantasy football this year. Just pick some injured fucks. But McCaffrey, dude, number one. What else is there to say? And also, if he gets hurt, you might end up in the Sacco tournament with me. So, what else do we got here? The last time I looked at your lineup, Harrison Butker wasn't in. So, I have you winning if you get a kicker in there, which I'm sure you did. But, if you don't, then it's 105. And if you do, it's 115. And I'm totally good to get rid of kickers next year. I think defense is all right. If we're just going to do skill position players and a QB. I think we should have smaller benches. I'd rather see guys have to make harder decisions about who they're going to drop. And yeah, I don't know. That's just a little pitch. I don't want to run for the commissioner, but it's just my 2 cents right there. All right. Now we've got two great characters in the league. Swag. I don't want to face you in the Sacco playoffs. You've got a pretty elite team for how low you are in the rankings. Points for shows. Scat Pack. Dude, I feel like Scat Pack is a swag. I feel like it's the same guy. Your whole team, Jamar, Pickens, Breeze, he's so talented, but he's on the fucking Jets. I don't know. I feel like if I was going against the Jets, I would just try to shut that guy down, and then you'd be good. If you're close on this week, maybe you should have played the Texans D, but honestly, I still have you losing to Weez, and I do want to file an official apology to everybody. To justify there were certified witches who cast a hex on the party the day that I accepted that trade from Matt, and I was convinced in my head that CeeDee Lamb was going to be hurt like the rest of my fucking team, and that Rico Dowdle was going to somehow end up losing the job to Chuba if I kept him on my team. And, it was a decision made out of scarcity, not abundance. I wanted to protect my squad, have some resiliency, get 3 players for 2. And then when you look at the players, you're talking about Alvin Kamara, dog shit. Well, you guys probably know the trade, so if Weez wins the ship and CD and Rico help get him there, then I'm sorry. Yeah, I have you for 150 points this week. They're pretty much the team to beat, except for your flex and your defense. Yeah, enough said. Next, we have the wide receiver visionary. All you see are receivers and guys running routes. I think your brain operates a little bit differently than the rest of us, and I appreciate it, Anthony. When we were sitting next to each other in the draft in 2024, I think you did an all wide receiver draft, and again, you just got a squad full of elite receivers. I probably should have made that trade with you instead of the one that I made with Weez, but overall, it's a solid team. The Bears defense, I'm a Steelers fan, so I'd have to say I'd love to see that turn against you this week in cost you the week. The weak link on your squad for your record is really obviously the running back position. I don't see you winning a ship with this team. You might win this week, but maybe not. I think it really comes down to who Rolf plays. Is he going to play Aaron Jones? Is he going to play Monangai? Gainwell? Only time will tell. Chase Brown, great acquisition. Josh Jacobs, I think he's out this week, but maybe he's playing this week. If he's playing, you're going to play him, but I don't know. Even if he's playing, maybe you don't, because he's got to probably take it light before Thanksgiving, but who knows? Puka Stafford combo, love that. And then, maybe JMO is your road to glory. Could also be, you know, a guy that takes you down, throw up a goose egg every now and then. And again, I don't see why you didn't play Fairbairn. If that costs you the week, you're gonna regret that decision. Swapping in for the Bears kicker. Again, kickers, we can just get rid of them, but you got to play your number one kicker guy, whatever. Why you have to? It's a Rolf move. We all know it. We all like it, and we don't always understand it. I have you guys tied 118 to 118, but that's kind of a cop-out on me. I am going to pick Dan this week for sure because I want to see the Bears lose. So that's biased, but it is what it is. We got B. Weed going against Lou. Brandon, I should have traded you for Henry. I should have traded you for Derrick Henry. He's a beast, and Bucky's ass this year. I mean, it's not even fair to say he's ass because he's not touching the football. I don't know if he has emotional damage. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why the fuck you have a subluxated shoulder, and that's why you're out for 2 months. I've subluxated my shoulder, and I popped it back in, and I threw a fucking beer down, and I went back into a party more times than I can count. So Bucky's being kind of a bitch as far as I'm concerned. There I get ranting about how shitty my team is. But B, you got Javonte. Kind of a surprise. Great pick this year. Justin Jefferson. No quarterback. I feel like he's so good that he should be doing better. Smith and Jigba. Jackson. I feel like that's like a real Bros' Simi Valley name, Jackson. I don't know if you had him on your team last year. Part of me feels like you did, but he's on the come up, so he's just gonna keep getting better. George Kittle, Tet. These guys are going off. And then Jared Goff needs to go off if you want to win. You've got a great team. If there's no injuries for the rest of the season, you've got a championship caliber team, but also you don't have the best depth. You don't have the greatest bench. Not that I do, but just looking at it. I've got you down for 135 this week. Scratching out Lou, who's got the best running back duo in the league with Saquon and Jonathan Taylor. Your receivers, that's more rough. I like Purdy. And then, yeah, I mean, maybe Kareem Hunt over Darius Slayton, but I think you have a more talented roster than mine, but it's not a surprise that we both have shitty records. We're both sitting at the bottom of the league. Would a Pacheco, Hunt, Tony Pollard, fucking trade have ever done anything? I feel like one day we are gonna make a trade, Matt. But until that day, I'll just kind of keep ribbing away and digging you for some of the stuff you send over to me. But I love you, bro. All right, and then for the last game of the week, maybe the most inconsequential, because I think it's already over. It's the game I'm in. I've already talked about my team enough over the course of this, so I'm not even going to analyze it. Other than my final comment is injuries. Bad luck next year. Freddie Walk. I love your draft, dude. I love your squad. I think you've got the best drafted team. Fucking Burrow is back soon. That's nasty. maybe Goddard gets some more targets because A.J. Brown's throwing temper tantrums. Maybe not. Zay Flowers, I feel like he's one of the most talented receivers out there, dude. The guy's got moves, but there's a lot to go around in Baltimore, and you got A-Chain out this week. If I had even a halfway decent team, I'd say that, with A-Chain out, I've got a chance, but to be honest, if I win, it's purely luck, especially with Khalil throwing up 18 points on my bench. It's just more idiocracy for me, and that just kind of sums up my season. All right, well, I'll wrap it up, guys. Stoked to see you. I'll be in town for Thanksgiving, so if we're doing some pickup, that's great. Then we'll all meet up Super Bowl. I think that I'm going to scrape out not being the Sacco, but I've never even been close to getting last place in any fantasy football league ever. So I don't like how it feels. I like being on top, and this is just the opposite way around. All right. Good luck, boys. Later.